Hi, my name is Danny Yoon, and I'll be talking about HCV infection, the correlation to type 2 diabetes. What is the hypothesis? There's a correlation between, is there a correlation between HCV infection and the development of type 2 diabetes? Why did the scientists perform these studies? Because there have been reports where people with HCV infection do have a significantly higher association with diabetes, while other areas don't seem to have any, if or not as high association with diabetes. Scientists want to confirm this hypothesis if there is a correlation between HCV and type 2 diabetes. People with HBV were also tested for diabetes in order to have more variety in comparison. What materials and methods were used in this study? In southern Taiwan and in Kaohsiung County, 4,958 subjects were used in this study. The subjects' blood were drawn to be screened for diabetes, hepatitis B, and C. And also, within the subject, there were subcategories like ages, education, and gender. Also, smokers and versus non-smokers, heavy drinkers and non-heavy drinkers, and also different weight categories like normal would be less than 24 BMI, and as you can see on the screen, so forth. What are the major results? Do they support or negate the hypothesis, and do they point to further future studies? After 7 years of follow-up, 474 participants developed diabetes, and the cumulative incidence was 9.6%. Also, the results show that people with HCV does have a significant rate and raises the chances of getting diabetes. People with HCV have a 14.3% incidence rate than those without HCV, and they have a 70% more chance of developing diabetes versus those who don't have HCV. Also, people with HBV, which is type B, hepatitis B, do not raise the chances of diabetes. This includes both for those that have both the diseases of HCV and HBV. Other factors that don't really contribute to diabetes were their gender and those who were smokers, and all the other factors that do contribute to their diabetes were their ages. Actually, the younger you are, the more prone you are to diabetes with HCV. But interestingly, the older you get, the less likely you get diabetes while you have HCV. Weight, this is the biggest factor. People with HCV and who are obese are 3 times more likely to catch diabetes. And people with heavy drinkers, it said, according to this, it says like 10 grams of alcohol per day or more raises your chance of getting diabetes. And people with low education, which is less 8th grade or lower, are more prone to get HCV. It's probably because the lack of education and of not knowing of these diseases makes them more prone to catching diseases. As you can see on this chart, if I can make it a little closer, this chart is more just in general how many people were involved in this test, and whether whether there be their gender or their education level. So this table you're looking at is just being very general of the type of people that were involved also. This next one is actually the important one. In fact, you can see on this row, which is the hazard rate, this is the important part I'd like to show you. Let's look at smoking habits, for example. Okay, I don't know if you can see this 1.3. What that means on this 1.3, for those that are smokers, are 1.3 likely to get diabetes versus those who don't smoke. So this is all based of 1. So if you go up there, is 0.9 opposed to 1. The male is 0.9. You are slightly less likely to catch diabetes versus a female, which is 1. Okay, so and so on and so forth. So one more, alcohol. Those who are frequent alcohol drinkers are 1.5 more likely compared to those who are not. That goes for those that have higher education. Okay, or 0.6 times, it's less likely they'll get diabetes. Seronegative is one that means they don't have any other diseases. And interestingly, the one with hepatitis B, they're 0.9, and they have a slightly less chance for some reason. But once you get to HCV alone, they're 1.7 times more likely to get the diabetes versus a person who has no disease. And of course, co-infection, meaning both HCV and HBV are 1.8 times more likely to get diabetes than those who don't have the disease. And if you look at the body mass, okay, yes, if you're between 24 and 27, you're 1.8 more likely, and above 27, you're 1.6 more likely to get diabetes. Okay. Next, in conclusion, HCV does have a high chance of developing diabetes. In order to reduce your chance of getting HCV and diabetes is to change your lifestyle. For example, people who do drugs through needles, contaminated needles, or people who are promiscuous, they have a higher chance of getting HCV. So yeah, stay away from that. And also diabetes. Yeah, so you gotta also watch out for your weight, and alcohol intake also helps changing your changing your lifestyle. And this part is a little more candid. Why did I choose this particular article? Is because many people are familiar with hepatitis and diabetes. So I chose an article where people, or at least many people, kind of know what hepatitis and diabetes are. So it's a very common disease, and and this article is relatively easy and understandable, and it's not very too technical, where some of the other articles can be kind of confusing. And finally, was it interesting, informative, clearly written, or none of the above? Yes, it was clearly written and interesting. Yes, I wasn't really looking for it, but it was, after reading it, it was interesting that how there is correlation between them, and most definitely it was informative. Okay, thank you.